Good afternoon and warm welcome to the daily news analysis by Civil Service Institute, Pala. The nation is in grief with the loss of 242 lives on board Air India flight, which crashed in Ahmedabad. The plane crash has put Boeing's safety record under scrutiny. Former Gujarat Chief Minister 𝗗𝗂𝘅𝗶𝗃 was among those who perished in the crash. Other top stories of the day include India marks a relative decline in gender parity, ranks 131 worldwide. Retail inflation eases to six-year low of 2.8% in May. Central schemes must pass effectiveness test to continue. War clouds over Middle East. And we will also be looking at one of the PYQs from 2023. World Economic Forum produces Global Gender Gap Report. And in this report of 2025, India has ranked 131 out of 148 countries with a parity score of 64.1%. India is among the lowest ranked countries in South Asia. India's rank was 129 out of 146 countries last year. Even though global gender gap is narrowing, marking the strongest annual advancement since the COVID-19 pandemic, full parity remains 123 years away at current rates. Iceland leads the ranking for the 16th consecutive year, followed by Finland, Norway, United Kingdom, and New Zealand. Bangladesh emerged as the best performer in South Asia, jumping 75 positions to rank 24 globally. You can see a picture of the top 10 countries and India and its neighbors, the ranks of India and its neighbors. Global Gender Gap Index measures 4 key dimensions. It measures gender parity according to 4 key dimensions. Which are those 4 key dimensions? Economic participation and opportunity, educational attainment, health and survival, and finally, political empowerment. One of the dimensions where India increased parity is in economic participation and opportunity. But India still lacks in political empowerment for the second year in a row, with female representation in parliament falling from 14.7% to 13.8%. Pakistan is ranked at the bottom of all countries. Pakistan is ranked at the bottom with a rank of 148. Moving to the next news. Before that, let's look at other important annual reports published by World Economic Forum. The important ones are highlighted for you. They are Global Competitiveness Report, Global Gender Gap Report, Global Risk Report, Financial Development Report. World Economic Forum also produces Global Information Technology Report, Global Travel and Tourism Report, and also Global Enabling Trade Report. Retail inflation eases to six-year low of 2.8% in May. India's retail inflation eased to a 75-month low of 2.8% in May 2025. It was driven by falling food inflation. There was a drastic fall in food inflation. Deflation in key components such as vegetables, pulses, spices, and meat contributed to this decline. However, inflation in edible oils and fruits are a cause of concern, driven by a contraction in oilseed sowing, rising global prices, and India's dependence on imports in this segment. With the RBI's recent rate cuts, this could augur well for the economy. Looming war threats in Middle East, followed by Russia-Ukraine war and other various conflicts, plus American tariff hikes could disrupt global supply chains, which might trigger further inflation. So in this topic, it is important for you to know what is Consumer Price Index and what is core inflation. So Consumer Price Index measures the average change in prices of a fixed basket of goods and services that households typically consume. It reflects how the purchasing power of money changes over time due to inflation. So consumer price index is a fixed basket, and CPI includes various categories such as food and beverages, housing, clothing and footwear, fuel and light, and other miscellaneous expenses like education, healthcare, transport, communication, and other recreation expenses. Whereas core inflation excludes items whose prices are volatile, such as food and fuel, and it is seen as an indicator of underlying demand conditions. So core inflation excludes. Core inflation doesn't include volatile substances such as food and fuel. Please keep this in mind. Next news was schemes must pass effectiveness test to continue. Schemes that are fully or partially funded by union government will be continued only if the evaluation report shows positive outcomes, proving that the set objectives of the scheme was met and there is a clear indication that the scheme must be continued so that the project and its mandate is in good shape, according to the Finance Ministry circular. To improve the quality of government expenditure, so this has to be done in order to improve the quality of government expenditure. Every scheme should have a sunset date. The circular proposes more financial limitations, including for demand-driven schemes like 𝗓𝗔 for an upward revision due to increase in the number of beneficiaries beyond the projected figures. Ministries has to seek the approval of Department of Expenditure. So thus, the schemes covering a wide spectrum of areas like social sector schemes, such as health, related to health, women, child development, education, tribal welfare, environment, agriculture, water and sanitation, all will be affected. So, war clouds are looming over Middle East. Amid ongoing nuclear talks between Tehran and Washington, a recent International Atomic Energy Agency resolution against Iran and warnings from Israel have yet again left a sword hanging over the entire Middle East. Middle East is in the grip of a war, and Israel is fully ready to launch an operation into Iran. Heightened regional tensions with the USA issuing a travel advisory ban. International Atomic Energy Agency board censures Iran for not complying with nuclear obligations. So let's wait and watch what will happen in the Middle East. And finally, the PYQ for the day. Consider the following statements. In the post-pandemic recent past, many central banks worldwide had carried out interest rate hike. Statement 2. Central banks generally assume that they have the ability to counteract the rising consumer prices via monetary policy means. Which one of the following is correct in respect of the above statements? Here, the answer has been already highlighted for you. Both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct, and statement 2 is the correct explanation for statement 1. So, in the post-pandemic period, central banks worldwide implemented interest rate hikes to address rising inflation, indicating a tight monetary policy. That means central banks assume they can manage inflation by increasing interest rates. This is achieved through mechanisms like reduced borrowing for businesses and by consumers. So if the interest rate is high, we won't borrow money. Whereas when the interest rate is cut, when the interest rates are low, we borrow money from the banks and thereby we spend the money boosting the economy and hence the economic growth. So here, reduced borrowing by businesses and consumers promotes savings, all of which slow economic activity and inflation. So I hope both the statements are clear. And with this, we wind up the session. Thank you. Have a nice day.